Okay, so let's talk about cryptocurrency. A lot of times out here you getting a lot of different, invest in this and invest in that and everything, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But like that's really not what my channel's for. Like I'm more about informing people, about what they're investing in and what the new things are out here to invest in. And cryptocurrencies are a lot more than just a currency. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot more behind them, and there's a reason. Like they're all these different cryptocurrencies were created to solve a problem, and whether they're solving that problem or not, in my opinion, should be the reason that we invest in them. But yeah, I just want to give a brief, history of cryptocurrencies and, if it's important to you and, why, you should be investing in it, or if you even should be investing in it, at all in the first place. So yeah, cryptocurrencies, you can just break that down. It's complex, but, to start it, you can break it down into two things that make it up, cryptography and then blockchain. So, cryptography is it's been around since the beginning of time, and then all that is just having messages that people can see in plain sight, but it can only be deciphered by the intended receiver. So we that goes all the way back to the ancient Egyptians, and like the hieroglyphs and the Rosetta Stone in dead languages are another example. Things that today nobody speaks, and you can see the hieroglyphs, you can touch the Rosetta Stone, do all these different things, but you don't know what they mean because they had a specific intended receiver, and that's who it was meant for. So the same thing with these cryptocurrencies. Like that's all it is. It's about encrypting data so that way it's only able to be decrypted by the intended receiver. The next thing is the blockchain. Blockchain, is passed off as new, but blockchain technology has been around since the 1970s, and it's really been, in use since the 1980s. So going into that, Bitcoin is passed off as the first cryptocurrency. You Google it and stuff like that, you'll see the first cryptocurrency, and it's the first, successful cryptocurrency, but it's not the first by any means. There were a few ones before that. So, the main one is Digicash. So Digicash was created by a guy named David Chom, and he was a professor at Princeton. And him and I don't want to mess up the names, but I want to say Adam Fiat and another guy or whatever. But they created a white paper back in like 1985 or so, and it was about basically like getting away from biggest. It was named Big Brother, Secrets of Cryptocurrencies, and it was titled against, because at that time, credit cards haven't always been widely accepted as they were today. So at one point in time, credit cards were looked at as sketchy, as scams, and there was a battle for electronic payments. So Digicash was trying to win that battle. David Chom, he created, the first quote unquote, electronic payment system using the blockchain technology and using a proof of work model. And again, I'm a financial advisor. I'm not a computer engineer or anything. I'm just an enthusiast on the computer engineering side. So that if get more technical on that side, definitely do your due diligence. But yeah, so he created the first electronic payment system using the blockchain, and it was a proof of work system. And basically, what that means is that it was, instead of like you had to prove your work, so it's a bunch of different computers that's in this network, and they're all fighting to validate these different transactions, and the validation of these transactions make up the different elements of the block. And then once once that block reaches, once the amount of transactions within that block reaches a limit, then that block closes, and then it moves on to another block, and all the blocks are chained together, hence the name blockchain. So, and that's just, the little watered down, simple version. It's much more complex than that, but that's the basics. So that's what he did. He introduced that in Digicash. And the reason Digicash wasn't successful is because of his own arrogance. So you'll see that, at the time, IBM, JP Morgan, they had came and they were trying to take Digicash public on the stock market. And I believe, don't let me get this wrong, but I want to say they offered him around like $100 million. And he thought that Digicash was worth more than that, so he declined it. Then allegedly, Bill Gates offered him $40 million, and then he tried to counter with 70, and that was turned down. And then Visa, they offered to invest around, I want to say $7 million, and he turned that down as well. And it's so crazy because after that, he ended up getting a couple more offers, but he turned those down, and then he sent those offers to his investors who were waiting to get their return on investment, and then they pulled out from the project, and that left Digicash, in the dust. So he ended up not happening. And crazy, credit cards, they won that battle, and that's what's widely used today. But it's crazy that it could have went the other way. And this was in the 1990s. So after that, 1995, 1996, they had a couple more. B-Money, Hash Cash. B-Money is actually mentioned in Bitcoin's white paper as it using, some of the elements and some of the work that B-Money, because B-Money, it went and it expanded on what Digicash was trying to do, and a Hash Cash as well. So Bitcoin mentions B-Money in its white paper. But yeah, we had B-Money, and then after that, in like the 2000s, you had like BitGold, which was like 2005 or so, and you had a few other ones, but Bitcoin in 2009 was the most successful one. And it's just crazy that where we could have went, if these people wouldn't have got out their own way, because B-Money, Hash Cash, and Digicash we all had different offers by different, large corporations, but they end up turning them down because they always thought that there was going to be a bigger and better, offer on the table right around the corner, and it never came. And, we ended up not with the cashless society, not with, cryptocurrency being implemented in the 90s, but we ended up with, this reserve banking system that we have today. So that's just the crazy part about it. And then, Bitcoin, it took off, and what the big thing that Bitcoin was trying to, and Satoshi, whoever he, she, or they may be, what they were trying to accomplish and what they were trying to solve was a double spending problem with digital currencies. So double spending is, if you have $1 and I take this dollar and I spend it, at the convenience store, that dollar is gone. I can't, recreate that dollar and then go and respend it somewhere else. Or I can't, duplicate that dollar and then go and spend it. It's going to be a completely different note using, another dollar. So I can't recreate that transaction. But, online, digitally, you can alter different things. So the point was that they didn't want the double spending problem to be able to send a transaction digitally and then be able to recreate that exact same transaction as if the first one, never went through, or to duplicate the first transaction and to immediately send it through, so that way it creates a double spend. And Bitcoin was the first one to be able to solve that problem, and it did that by using the proof of work scheme, where there's no CEO of Bitcoin, there's no company behind Bitcoin. So, the way, and again, I'm not a computer engineer, but, the basis of the way that hackers attack these different systems is that, your computer is just made up of, ones, a different sequence of ones and zeros. That's all your computer and all these different computers, laptops, that's all they're made up of. They're made up of algorithms. So it's just ones and zeros. So, when they're communicating with each other, when they're sending things to the network, then, the hacker, what they do is that they change the sequence of the code, or they change the code so that way, they rewrite it to themselves. Or when it's transmitting the code to another system or communicating with that, they just change the message of the communication, and that's how they're able to do it. So, if it's like JP Morgan or if it's a big bank or whatever financial institution, a lot of them have central hubs or headquarters where they and like central data centers, or some of them have multiple data centers. They'll have one central hub and then multiple data centers spread out. But a lot of them always have like a one central system. So, or if hackers are able to crack that one system, then they're able to get access to all or a lot of the accounts that are within that network. So that's how, a lot of these different companies are able to be hacked. But, with Bitcoin, there's no central hub, there's no central network. So I can run, miners, the people who have these computers that validate these transactions within the blockchain. They are the ones who, are the hubs, and no computers are connected. So I can run a node, and I can be a miner in Alabama, and then someone else can be a miner in Virginia, and someone else can be a miner in Australia and Texas and everywhere else around the world. So even if it was able to take me down, take me and a guy in Virginia down, then there's still the people in Texas and Australia. So it's not ever one connected network. It's not one network. It's multiple networks, working together to create that blockchain. So that's what they were able to do, and they're only able to validate the transaction after solving that block. So that's how they were able to, and that's just layman terms. Of course, computer engineer, if you're a coder, the more in depth. But just for the beginners, that's how they did it. So him being able to create that, and also to create a deflationary currency. So Bitcoin, there will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. Like, Google it, look it up, do whatever you got to do. There will never be more than 21 million Bitcoin. We're about like 18.5 million right now. So Bitcoin is deflationary. So the dollar is an inflationary currency. The more that's printed, the more that comes into circulation, the less valuable that it becomes. So with Bitcoin is deflationary. There's always going to be less and less of it coming into circulation every single year. So as less and less of it is coming into circulation and the demand goes up, then, internally the price is going to go up. And that's why Bitcoin is going to continue to pump. And a lot of other cryptocurrencies are going to continue to pump as well. But because Bitcoin is really like the tide that lifts all boats. Like as Bitcoin pumps, as Bitcoin rises, a lot of these other cryptocurrencies are going to rise. But Bitcoin is the first successful one, but it's not even the best cryptocurrency. Because as one of my friends, he posted on the thing, he's like, that Litecoin and another cryptocurrency were faster than Bitcoin. Bitcoin was designed to be slow. It was designed to be bulky. It was designed to be robust. It wasn't designed to build things on top of it. It was designed to solve the double spending problem, and that's what it did. But it wasn't designed to be anything more than just a currency. It's a technology, but it wasn't designed to be anything more than a currency, or designed to solve anything other than the double spending problem. So that's why you see it's not feasible. It wouldn't really be feasible for Bitcoin to be a national currency. It's not going to work like that. It's not going to work like a dollar. What Bitcoin's trying to be is a store of value. So it's trying to be like digital gold. And, a store of value, that just means that it holds value. So, what we look at, a lot of people, Bitcoin, what's Bitcoin backed by? You got to look at things that not everything, because Bitcoin is more than just money. It's like I said, it's a currency, it's technology, but it's more than just money. It's more than just a currency, it's just a technology, and it solved a problem that was behind it. So, when you're looking at that, you got to look at other things that have value, but you can't necessarily spend them, like your desk, like a desk, your car, like a lot of different things, the way to be your garden, stuff that you hold dear, maybe like a family heirloom, whatever. All these things have value to you. And some of them, a lot of them, most of them have monetary value, but can you go spend that? Like, you can't go take your chair and then chip off a piece of your chair and be like, hey, I want to take this $30 chair. I want to spend $10 out of that to go buy this burger. You can't do that, and Bitcoin is trying to be digital gold, but, it's more transferable than gold. So you don't want to nobody wants to haul a whole bunch of gold around. You're not going to be hauling, 30 bars of gold, 100 coins of gold around. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have that at your house. and you can't like take a bar of gold and chip a piece of that off at the grocery store and be like, hey, I want to go ahead and transfer that. But what cryptocurrency is trying to do is trying to be that medium to where you can do that peer-to-peer. You can do those fast and easy transactions, not just with stores, but with each other as well. So, Bitcoin is Bitcoin is the first. Bitcoin is the first successful, but it's not the best because you can't build anything on top of it. It's slow. But when you look at Ethereum and what Ethereum is trying to do, Ethereum is trying to have it to where you can build multiple things on top of Ethereum. Like right now, they have it to where they have comic books on the blockchain, where you can, buy, sell, and transfer comic books. But they're trying to bring real estate onto the blockchain, healthcare onto the blockchain. And the biggest thing about that is that, the blockchain and, these cryptocurrencies, a lot of them, at least the decentralized ones, like all of them are, what their main focus is and what they're trying to, really accomplish in the long run is that they're trying to have it to where you can put multiple things on top of them. Like unlike Bitcoin, where you can't really build anything on top of it, they're trying to make it to where you can build multiple things on top of it, and they're trying to be permissionless. So like, at your bank or at your financial institution or whatever it may be, you gotta essentially ask for permission. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to apply for a loan and get approved. You have to apply for, a line of credit and get approved. You have to apply for these different places and get approved. And a lot of times, we all know about redlining. We all know about, predatory lending. So we all know that at the end of the day, for the big money, for the big corporations, the banks control and the banks select who they want to fund. So, with that is that you look at it like a monopoly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I look at it as, especially our economy, is that in the game of Monopoly, you know what I'm saying? You have but your goal is to get control as much of the board as you can. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if someone who controls the majority of the board, they're able to control the rents on the board, and they're able to buy more and buy more and buy more until they have the whole board and they control the whole board. You know what I'm saying? So that way the people at the bottom never are able to get ahead because that person controls so much of it that even if the person gets a little bit here, a little bit there, they're never able to control the entire market flow. Like these big investors in the stock market and real estate, all these different things, we can get our little piece here and there. And that's all a lot of people want, get your little piece and be good. But we're never able to gain, real true access to wealth because it's already sold up. Like, we know that 70% of the real estate market is owned by less than 10% of the people, of the population of the world. You know what I'm saying? We know that 90% of the stock market is owned by 10%, less than 10% of investors. So we know that even though we are able to get in, we are able to make a little bit of money, we're not really able to push markets because we don't control enough of it. So the same thing in Monopoly, like they're able to control so much of the board that we're not able to, really do anything. They're able to control the rents, they're able to control what we do. But, the thing about Monopoly is that at the end of Monopoly, once the game's over, then the game resets and everyone else has an equal share or a fair chance to, become on top. Everyone has a fair chance to control the entire board. But in real life, it doesn't work like that. Like, these companies are constantly being bailed out. It's crazy that, the airline companies, a lot of these other companies, some of them hadn't been profitable for years, yet they keep getting funding. It's like, where does that work? There's no place where you get rewarded for failing. Like, there shouldn't be an economy where you can constantly come in the negative, you can constantly not produce, but they sell it off as it's necessary. Like, all these people will lose their jobs if this company goes out of business. This company is providing a necessary, commodity or a necessary service to the community. But at the same time, things should be allowed to die and, regrow. Like, if the airline company went out of business, then whatever, black people, Asian, whoever, people would come together and pull the resources together to fill that need. Same thing with the post office, whatever. Same thing with a lot of these different companies out here. Like, if they were allowed to go out of business, then there would be other companies that could come in. And not even just companies, but there'd be communities, there'd be people who will come in and fill that need because it will be a need. Like, we're able to fill needs. It's just that a lot of times we're not able to get our foot in the door because the market's already sold up. But, with this crypto, this is really like a whole new, this is what we're really going through, the fourth industrial revolution. We're going through the internet 2.0, because you see it like PayPal and JP Morgan and all these different, large institutions, they're all trying to get into crypto right now. You see, they're all investing into Bitcoin, but like I said, Bitcoin is deflationary. So, like, in my opinion, we can see 100,000 plus Bitcoin in the next 5 years. But what would that mean? That's going to mean that Bitcoin is going to be way too overpriced for companies or just even the average individual to get into. So they're going to be looking for other ways and other cryptocurrencies to invest in. Like BlackRock, you can go look it up. BlackRock is, the largest, one of the largest, if not the largest, financial institution in America. And they just said that they approved a trust for Chainlink and Ethereum. So they already invested in the Bitcoin, but they're having trust. They're creating trust for Chainlink and Ethereum. So if you look at some of these other cryptocurrencies and what they're trying to do, because again, like I'm not a computer engineer. I look it up and I research for myself, but I'm not going to give you, advice on computer engineering and stuff like that, because that's not my field. But go, if you're interested in the crypto, if you want to learn more, if you want to just, I feel like you should know what you're investing in, because they're all like Bitcoin is going to be the catalyst. Like as it rises, it's gonna be the tide that rises all boats. But at the same time, Ethereum, Chainlink, Polkadot, VeChain, MakerDot, there's a whole bunch of other crypto that, in my opinion, are going to outpace Bitcoin in terms of percentages. Because people look at sheer number, and that's not what's the real important. Because take. If someone has $180,000 house and then they sell it for $200,000, they made $20,000. And then you take someone who had $1,000 house and they sold it for $10,000. If you look at it, yeah, the person who sold it, for $200,000, they made $20,000. They made more number wise, but in percentages, in return on investment, the person who sold their $1,000 investment for $9,000 made the best investment percentage wise. So if you look at Bitcoin is up like 250% for the entire year, while Ethereum is up 600%. Chainlink is up 400%. You know what I'm saying? Like, not number-wise. Bitcoin is trading at a larger number amount. Bitcoin has a larger volume, a larger market cap. But other ones are far outpacing it in terms of return on investment. So, you have to look at the percentages as well, not just the dollar amount. But a lot of this cryptocurrencies out here, they're doing a lot of different things besides just being cryptocurrency, but besides just being something that you can just trade and make some money off of. You can, anything can pump, you know what I'm saying? But, knowing what you're investing in and being passionate about it, reaching out, joining communities, asking questions, I think that's really what's the most important thing, because we have an opportunity to beat, you didn't get to, I ain't gonna say nobody did, but a lot of us didn't get to invest in the internet in the early stages. Most of us didn't get to invest in Tesla, Apple in the early stages. We didn't get to invest in a lot of these things that people got wealthy off of in the early stages, because a lot of the wealth that comes is going to be from, founders or holders. It's going to be people who founded companies or organizations or programs, or it's going to be people who held stock or real estate or these different investments and held it over the long term, held it from when it was $12 and $30 and $100, and they held it from the inception, or even some held it before the IPO, and all the way up until 4, 5, 10 years later on, and then now they're reaping those benefits. So, very rarely do we get a jump on institutional investors. Very rarely do we get a jump on something early. And this is, the next wave of what's coming, whether it be a central bank digital currency like, the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Economic Forum, and the Federal Reserve is trying to make, whether we get that, or whether we get a decentralized future, at the end of the day, having a jump on this technology, whether you are in it just as an investor, whether you want to get in it as working, because we already see that a lot of these jobs aren't going to be here, after this pandemic. And they already said, and I don't know if y'all seen my post. I shared a post on Facebook a couple months ago, probably back in November or so. But the World Economic Forum, the Federal Reserve, they're talking about reskilling 50% of the population. They said 50% of employees are going to need to be reskilled. They're going to have to learn AI. They're going to have to learn machine learning, cloud computing. They're going to have to learn all these different things. They're going to have to transition to a more digital world. So if you think that oh, it's just whatever, I'm gonna just do me. I ain't got to worry about that. You're mistaken, because it's gonna penalize you for not keeping up with this stuff. It's gonna harm you in the long run for not keeping up with this stuff. So again, man, I just want to share information. I just want y'all to really get a jump on this stuff. I want y'all to really just look into it, and pay attention to all the different stuff that's going on. I'm gonna definitely try to drop more. Y'all see all the stuff that's going on, so I'll be busy, but I'm definitely gonna try to drop more. And appreciate everybody that reaches out to me in the DMs, the people that call me and stuff like that. And ask for my consultations and stuff. So I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody that shop, everybody that book me for financial plans and financial consultations. So I appreciate all y'all. And this is definitely something that you got to look into. Definitely something that is the future. And not only is it the future, but it's here. And we have an opportunity. If you like that stuff, not everybody is with trying to be anonymous or trying to get away from the current banking system. I personally feel like the current banking system, is trash. Like, at the end of the day, because you shouldn't be able to create so much debt without having a out for it. There's so much debt into the society, and people don't understand what's going on. People don't understand what fractional reserve lending is. At one point in time, like I shared on my post, but at one point in time, dollars were backed by gold. And then we went away from dollars being backed by gold, but then the Federal Reserve, they require banks to hold a certain amount in reserve. So if you had $10,000 in the bank, at one point in time, it had to be 80%. So they had to hold $8,000 of that. They could only lend out $2,000. Then it was 50%. Then they could lend out $5,000. Then it was 10%. Then they can lend out all but $1,000. And then if you go look now, it's zero. It is 0%. They don't have to hold any of your money. You put $10,000 in, they can immediately lend that out. They don't have to hold that anywhere. If somebody wants to take out $10,000 loan, boom, we just got $10,000. Thank you. And a lot of people don't know that. You know what I'm saying? The banks create money out of nowhere. They create money off of debt. They don't have to have any money on the books. But once you come and take out a loan, they just created money just then. Once you came and took out that loan, once you came and borrowed against something that you didn't have, that's how they create money. They're not creating money just by taking in your dollars and going and spending it somewhere else. They don't need to do that. They can create money without having anything in reserve. They can create money out of thin air. And they sell our data. They tell us. It's not like, it's nothing new, with the terms and agreement. Every time you sign agree to terms and agreement, every time you sign a lot of these privacy acts, they tell you that, they're sharing your data, or they're selling your data, or they're selling your loan. And, we sign off. It's not like we don't know, you sign off on it. So it's not like they doing it behind your back. You're agreeing to it, but do you get paid for that? Do you get paid for them sharing your data? You already know, every third ad on Facebook, or every third or fourth ad, if you scroll on Facebook, is going to be a ad. And a lot of times it's going to be something that you looked up. You've been looking up crypto. You've been looking up, horses, hair, whatever. You're going to see it. You're going to see it on your Google Analytics. It's going to pop up, and your suggestions. It's going to auto-correct or your finish. So, and we know this. It's not like something that we don't know. We see this every day. So it's nothing new. We all know this. But you don't get paid for that. You don't get paid for Facebook, Google, Amazon, any of these places sharing your data. And they're the biggest data companies in the biggest tech companies in the United States, damn near the world. You don't get paid for that. But with this cryptocurrency, with these different blockchain technologies, with these different, DeFi protocols, you're able to at least take back some ownership if you want to. You're able to, you can be anonymous if you choose, or if you want people to if you want to, basically sell your data, or if you want to, have everyone know what wallet address or what wallet you're using and stuff like that, then that's your choice. That's 100% your choice, but no one's forcing you to do anything. You have that choice to do what you want. And of course, it's volatile. It's a baby. And I was telling my friend this earlier, if something has a market cap of $1 million and I'm a millionaire and I put $1 million into it, I just double that market cap. And then I get other people to invest, and they invest and they push it up to $3 million. And then I take my $1 million out. I'm able to move that market a lot more than if it's a $3 trillion market and I put my $1 million in and then I take my $1 million out or do something else with my $1 million. So you have to look, crypto just hit $1 trillion. Now it's back under a little bit under $1 trillion market cap total. For all the cryptocurrencies is under $1 trillion. Apple's worth over $2 trillion by itself. The entire stock market is over $100 trillion. Derivatives is over $2 quadrillion in the derivatives market. So, you see that, and it's and we see that we just printed over $4 trillion last year. And Biden's talking about doing 1.9 trillion. So a lot of this money is as we see the dollar continue to lose value, we're going to see a lot of this institutional money go elsewhere. because banks make money off of interest. Interest rates are zero and some sub-zero. There are sub-zero interest rates out here on bonds, corporate stocks, corporate bonds. There are sub-interest rates out here. Banks aren't making money. A lot of people's investments aren't making money. So people are looking to invest other places. People are looking to, and have another hedge against inflation, opposed to gold. Because I said before, gold is not easily transferable. But gold is always going to be a store of value. Silver, they're always going to be stores of value, and people should invest in that. Whether it be small amounts or large amounts, you definitely should invest in gold stocks as well. You should definitely invest in silver, but put crypto into your portfolio, because you don't want to be at the right place at the right time and still miss out. So, yeah, that's all I got for today. I'll probably drop another one later on or something, but, God bless y'all, man. And, be safe and do your research, do your due diligence.